She's a pretty girl when glammed up, because when she's not glammed up and filters on it, like, the bitch looks like the bottom of my motherfucking shoe after I stepped on dog shit. You get me? I will compare her to shit, but even shit could be used to grow grass. That bitch is just there, a waste of foot. That's one load she should have gotten swallowed. So there's no possible way that I charged her more the second time than the fucking first time. Fucking stupid crater face looking ass bitch. How did I charge you more, you dumb bitch, if I was actually the one that liked you? They're taking advantage. Yeah. That Jeffree's not about airing people out anymore. Okay? Oh, that he's not about airing people out anymore. He could. He's lucky he's a nice person. How are you going to talk about a person after you got in a private jet that was paid for? You didn't spend a dime. Okay? Your fucking room was paid for. He paid for the fucking concert to go see Mariah Carey. Front row. I sat next to you. Paid for the food for the restaurant. And you're right, bitch. You were such a boring time. We talked about your skin, bitch. But your fucking skin looks like shit till this day, a whole year later, bitch. No. No, at this point, her confidence is not that low. Because if her confidence was low, she wouldn't be showing her fucking anchor-ass, Titanic-ass scars that she has under her titties on fucking live. On Instagram. On OnlyFans. That's not insecurity. Yeah. Wait, are you insecure? Because people... You want people to feel... to kiss you and make you feel bad, kiss your ass, and have sympathy for you, and feel bad for you and shit like that, because that comforts you and makes you feel like people give a shit about you. I do apologize for the things that I said about Trisha Paytas.
Cello. So I'm assuming if you clicked on this video, you're probably aware of what has been taking place on the TikTok between Trisha Paytas, Jeffree Star, and Bunny XO. So just to give you a little bit of a rundown, Bunny XO invited Trisha to be on her podcast, in Vegas or whatever, and Trisha was already going to be in Vegas for some other event that was happening, right? And while she was there, she was going to be doing that podcast as well. According to Trisha, she overbooked herself, and last minute, an hour before having to film that podcast with Bunny, ended up canceling on her in the most bogus way possible. Okay, Trisha, sorry to tell you, you were very unprofessional in how you handled the situation with Bunny. Okay, an hour before you're supposed to have some kind of sit-down interview with somebody, you cancel because you have poor time management skills and couldn't accurately set it up in advance, but instead, an hour before, you're trying to tell the person who invited you on, who literally has their own life going on and is traveling back and forth and is making mountains out of a molehill to be able to do this podcast with you, you're asking that person, oh, well, can we do this some other time? To which Bunny responded like, no. Like, all of this is revolving around you at this point. I've got my own things going on. All of this is revolving around you. You know, we need you to be here at this time. And then in turn, you don't respond to that. Because in typical Trisha Paytas fashion, you send your cancellation text message. And this is in your own words, Trisha. You send your cancellation text message, and then you put your phone away and you run. Because you can't, be bothered with whatever the response is in return. See, that's the common denominator in a lot of the problematic situations that you've been involved in, Trisha, is that you like to throw the stone and then run away after you do it. You don't want to deal with the repercussions of your own actions. And just when I thought you might have been getting past this, we suddenly bring ourselves back here. So if you whoever's watching, if you haven't been able to tell, I do have a little bit of a bone to pick with Trisha in this situation. So on one hand, I will defend Trisha against everything that Jeffree has said. And then on the other hand, Trisha, baby, you're wrong. Okay? Now, I took extensive notes on this. All right? Don't do that. Extensive. Okay? Because I wanted to make sure that I really, really, really got my point across, and I really got it right. So, it starts from the beginning. Now, let me also just come out and say, I really don't know who Bunny XO is, to be honest. I've only ever found out about her through this scenario. So she very much could be problematic the house for all I know. Okay? And if she is, fine. Not defending her in general, just in this situation. Okay? She could very well be a shit starter. I have no idea. She had Jeffree Star on her podcast. She seemed to be, in agreement with him on certain things. So that could probably speak to her character. I have no idea. I'm not here to talk about that. In this situation, Bunny has every right to be frustrated with how Trisha handled this. Because at the end of the day, Bunny's time was wasted. Now, does it seem a little shady that she was having Trisha on the podcast this day and then going the next day to film a podcast with Jeffree Star? Yeah, a little bit. Seems a little bit shady. But that's just speculation at this point. So Jeffree, in his very opportunistic diva way, saw an opportunity to drudge up this drama between Trisha and hairbyjay and him, essentially. This trifecta of problematic nonsense that occurred several years ago at this point. Because Bunny brought it up because, rightfully so in that moment, she had just been done dirty by Trisha. So her knowing that Jeffree also has beef with Trisha, and she's obviously recording a podcast and she's looking to get views, she brings it up. She's like, hey, this happened with Trisha. She literally just canceled on me an hour before we were supposed to film. Like, I literally traveled, back from, she said she was in Utah or something like that. And that, she was literally, right after the interview with Trisha, she was going to film with her for like 3 hours. And then she was hopping back on a plane with her and her team to head to Wyoming to have some event and then film with Jeffree. So she brought it up because she was aggravated. And boy, did Jeffree hop on that opportunity to be like, well, Trisha, whatever the fuck he said. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he basically said she was a piece of shit and that she has tried ruining his life, lied about him and hairbyjay, said that they, body shamed her and called her all these names and all this shit, and that Trisha owes Jeffree an apology for all of that. I'm sorry, Jeffree, what? Trisha owes you an apology? Wait, Trisha lied about hairbyjay and you? What reality are we living in? That scenario with hairbyjay, that was on camera. Take away whatever is speculation behind the scenes and that we're just taking Trisha at her word of what happened without the cameras, okay? Let's talk about what's factually known. And what's factually known is that hairbyjay got on camera and talked big shit with his whole chest. Talked big shit about Trisha Paytas. And women, for that matter. He's 100% a disrespectful, vile human being that has no respect for women, or no respect for anybody that he feels is under him. And that is the person that does your hair. So where does he get that attitude from? Where does he get this machismo confidence from? To feel like his shit don't stink, that he can be able to come out and talk big shit about somebody who is your friend. Okay? Trisha Paytas, if anything, was more of your friend than she was his. You know, he may have done a couple wigs for her, whatever. I don't exactly remember the correct history because it's old fucking news at this point that you're just re-bringing up just for clicks. This is what we know is true about how he views Trisha and how he, I'm going to say, views women in general, just based on how he spoke about her. Okay? And then when it comes to you, I also just want to say, it's not hard to believe, okay? It's not hard to believe at all that you are very much that person that body shamed Trisha, that talked mad shit about Trisha, that literally made fun of her for renting her apartment at the time and for having less money than you. Wasn't it also a story that you were doing those same things to Rich Lux? Now listen, I'm no big Rich Lux fan because Rich Lux has his own fucking issues to deal with, right? He's had his own people that he's wronged and disrespected with his videos that he's made, wrongfully so. But was it not revealed that you also would make fun of Rich Lux and shame him for buying like the cheapest thing in like the Gucci store or whatever the fuck? You're able to afford the most expensive, and he did a nice thing buying you a gift, okay? But you knew that it was the cheapest thing in the store, and behind the scenes you shaded him for it. That speaks to your character, Jeffree. It's not hard to believe that you've done that about everybody that you've come in contact with in your life, okay? Why is it that you, Shane, and Ryland aren't so close anymore? Why is it that Morgan Adams slyly throws in her vlogs about how you don't like her and how you've spoken negatively about Ryland? Oh, but you don't have anything negative to say that we know of about Shane because Shane's the breadwinner, right? Shane's the moneymaker. Shane is the one that literally put this halo around you at a time when you were going through it and made everybody forget about your problematic past. But I'm supposed to believe that you're a changed person. You're not that same person that like back in like 2005, 6, or 7 were filming extremely racist videos with Cheryl, someone that you were also friends with, okay? We all remember Cheryl? Do we remember all that racist nonsense that was going on back then? Or did we just forget because Cheryl booted himself off the internet? And rightfully so, because that shit was problematic as all hell, okay? Let's not forget that. For any of you who don't know who Cheryl is, look up Cheryl Jeffree Star prank call on YouTube. You'll find it, okay? That's one of many problematic videos that Cheryl was involved in, but one that Jeffree Star participated in. That video speaks to your character, Jeffree. Every other video that you used to put online back in the day when you were, you know, the MySpace king, traveling around on Warped Tour with a rapist, okay? Someone who was very close to you. Very close to you. And you, I know you've said that you weren't aware of certain things that were going on, But fucking bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. In my opinion, you knew what was going on back then. And you were cool with it because you were just as problematic as your buddy. What was his name? Dobby Vanity? And when he no longer served you, when that whole group that you used to hang out with was no longer serving you because you were the star, you saw yourself as the star, not them. You moved on and have trashed them ever since. Now, I'm not saying that they're good people because obviously they're not, but those were your friends. That was the environment that you put yourself in. And I'm supposed to believe that you've never fat-shamed or said anything bad about Trisha Paytas behind the scenes? Fuck out of here, Jeffree. Please. I've been following you for almost 20 years, okay? I know who you were. And I've seen who you were through the years and who you've become. There's a common denominator in all of it, and it's mean girl behavior. You haven't changed, Jeffree. You may have changed locations. You may have changed tax brackets. But when it comes to the person who exists within the celebrity, that person hasn't changed, in my opinion. Sorry, not sorry. Anyway, so let me refer back to my notes. I had put, don't get me wrong, I'll say it till the cows come home. Trisha is no innocent bystander, okay? Trisha Paytas has done a lot of horrible shit in her past. All right, I just recorded a video talking about the whole JoJo Siwa situation and how Trisha Paytas was on the right side of history in that situation. But let's not forget, Trisha Paytas is just as problematic as Jeffree Star, okay? Jeffree Star might have a few more skeletons in his closet, maybe a few more intense skeletons, but Trisha's not innocent by any means. Trisha Paytas has disrespected a lot of people, a lot of different communities. Trisha Paytas has also been racist. She's been ableist. The list goes on. Now, is that who she is now? I can't really say. I see that there is change within her until this situation, unfortunately. And I think you brought it out of her. Because I think that deep down, Trisha Paytas is somebody who is she's a very flawed and hurt individual. She has a lot of issues that I think that as she gets older and now has a daughter and is now married, I think she's hit a point where she probably looks back on a lot of the fucked up shit that she's done in her life and doesn't necessarily know how to rectify any of it. So her defense mechanism is to just back off and disappear. I mean, and that much is true with the whole situation with Bunny and how she handled that situation very unprofessionally. Okay? Very fucking unprofessionally. All right? If you have a job and you're sick and you don't go to work one day, it is the appropriate thing to call your job, let them know that you will not be showing up to work that day because you're ill. That is the professional thing to do. The unprofessional thing to do is to no call, no show. Just decide that you're not going to show up to work and expect no repercussions to come of it. That's essentially what Trisha Paytas did. What she was doing was a work thing. Okay? Bunny may not have been paying her, but let's be clear. It was for work. So she just sent her text message and was like, she peaced out because she didn't want to deal with whatever feelings that would come up based on whatever Bunny's response was. And according to Bunny, her response was, I can't do this any other time. I kind of based all of this around you. So WTF. And this situation now is bringing out an old side of her that we haven't seen in a while. And that could be because she's hidden it very well. It could be because she's trying to change. It's not really up for me to say either way because I don't know her. I think that you bring out the worst in people, Jeffree. I think that's the truth. I think that you honestly bring out the worst in people. Your presence brought out the worst in Bunny, made her want to bring that up because you were somebody who also had beef with Trisha Paytas. So you brought out the feeling within her that she just had to let it out. And you're bringing out the worst in Trisha. You brought out the worst in hairbyjay because I don't think that he would have ever said the shit that he said about Trisha had he not been somebody who was consistently in your orbit. You are obviously somebody who makes anybody around you feel comfortable to be a piece of shit. You did it to Shane Dawson, okay? Sure, you probably, did whatever with James Charles behind the scenes. And when I say that, I don't mean like anything, interpersonal. I mean that you just bring out the worst in people with your personality. They feel like they have to be a certain way with you. Tati Westbrook said as much. That you and Shane as a duo were bringing out the worst in her with all of the lies and deceit you were telling her behind the scenes to get her to put her entire life and career on the line for something that would be for your benefit. Again, Tati is also somebody who's not really defensible 100%. She's got her own skeletons in her closet as well. But when it came to that situation, the whole Dramageddon nonsense, you guys played a heavy role in that together. Again, that speaks to your character. Your character's disgusting. That's what I see. It may not be what I know because I don't know you, but it's what I see. It's what I've seen for almost 20 years at this point of you being on the internet. It's just the facts. Whether or not you want to come to terms with it, that's on you. The rest of us that are not like your new TikTok followers that don't know any better, the rest of us, OGs, we know the truth, okay? We know exactly who you are. Now, it's easy for Jeffree to just come out and say, all of it is a lie. She came out and she literally tried to ruin mine and Jay's lives with all of her lies and bullshit. But Jeffree, just like I said in my previous video about JoJo Siwa, I will say the same thing to you. What is the lie? You see, you people come out and you just like to just flap the gums, say shit, and run away. But you never like to elaborate on what it is that you're saying. So what exactly is the lie, Jeffree? What exactly is the lie? I need you to elaborate on what exactly is a lie about hairbyjay and what exactly is a lie about you in regards to Trisha. What's the lie? You saying that hairbyjay never, body shamed and talked shit about Trisha and yada, yada, yada. Well, that's a lie within itself. Because we've seen it happen. We can literally fact check that. What we can't fact check is how you were with her behind the scenes. We can only go based off of what she said. But based on your track record, it's not hard to believe. So I need you to elaborate. go further into detail and explain what is the lie. And try to convince us that that video doesn't still exist on the internet with hairbyjay. See, the thing about Jeffree that irritates the shit out of me is the fact that he wants everybody to believe that he's a changed person. He wants everybody to believe that he no longer engages with the nonsense, that he's a totally different individual than what he was when he moved to LA. When he moved from LA, he wised up, opened up his little yak farm. Now he's got his store and he's playing dress up as a cashier in his store. He wants everybody to believe that he's a different person. But then he'll do something like go on Bunny XO's podcast and sprinkle a little drama here when he's probably got another collection coming up that he's trying to hawk that nobody cares about. And then he runs away. Just in the same thing that I'm holding Trisha to the fire about, sending Bunny XO a text to cancel and then scurrying out of there because she didn't want to deal with the rejection or whatever Bunny was going to say in response. She didn't want to deal with that response, because of her anxiety. Okay, I have anxiety too. I understand. But when it comes to an obligation, if you're going to cancel on that obligation, you need to see it all the way through to the end. So there's full and total understanding between you and the other party that you're canceling on. That's just the responsible thing to do. So if I'm going to put her feet to the flame on that, I have to put your feet to the flame for the same thing, Jeffree. You just think that, we are supposed to believe that you're some changed individual, but you go and you do some shit like this, just sprinkle in some drama, stir up some internet shit, and then you run away, and then you watch it all as it unfolds from your golden couch on your ranch. How is that equivalent to being a changed individual? I don't see the change. I never have seen the change. I unfollowed you a long time ago because you never were going to change. And here we are. How long ago at this point did you move away from LA and you said, oh, so refreshed, totally new person? We're back to square one. Or is it that we never left? I think that's more in tune with what the truth is. Let me just check the rest of my notes, because at this point, I think I've said all that I've had to say. Let me see. Trisha's response. She reiterated that it's obvious that you're lying. Yes, we know that. I brought up Cherylade. We know about that fucking nonsense. Trisha Paytas is unprofessional. And that's odd behavior. Yeah. I think I've said all I need to say. Y'all need to learn lessons from each other at this point. Y'all are problematic, and I'm not so sure that any of you will ever change. I can't really say much about Bunny because I don't know anything about Bunny, but in this situation, she looks a hell of a lot better than any of you.
You say black folk cannot wear MAC cosmetics and you splash your acid in her face.
Well, maybe if she wasn't wearing the wrong foundation color, I wouldn't have to splash no battery acid. I wanted to lighten her skin tone, girl.